Hello. Hey, niece. Are y'all on the road? Make sure y'all drive careful out there, niece. Hello, hello. I'm gonna try to read these comments as I go along tonight. How's everybody doing on this thankful Thursday? How y'all doing? I'm trying to see how to share my screen, but I don't think I can do it from this part of the clip. How y'all doing tonight? Let me know who's here in the comments. I see my niece. I know you in the car with my nephew. Make sure y'all driving careful. Be watchful on the roads. Oh, in the rain. Oh, geez. Please be careful. Hello. Got a juicy topic tonight. Hola. This is tea, y'all. Tea, not Coke. How are y'all doing? Hola. Welcome to PCMinistries Thursday Night Live, where we deal with what you feel from the inside out. Let me know who's here in the comments. I like to see who we gonna be talking back to me tonight. I love the interaction. Again, if you have not followed PCMinistries page, most people have just liked it. Quite a few have followed, but a lot of them are talking about they're missing the lives and stuff. So you have to like and follow the page to get that notification of when I'm on. I think you have to turn on notifications, but that's your call. How are y'all doing? Thank you, niece. Thanks for sharing. How y'all doing? Let me know who's joining me tonight. Um, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Let me know who's here in the comments. I see a few viewers on there. Let me know who's here. We're going to get started in a few minutes. Won't be before you long, but we got a juicy topic. That's not what I was looking for. See if that's it. Hello, hello, hello. How y'all doing? Hopefully I can see all the comments. I can't make it bigger. I can't really make it any bigger. I don't know why. I don't know what I just did, y'all. Let me stop mashing buttons because I don't have a young person here to help me out before I be done mess something up. How y'all doing on this thankful Thursday? Starting in about 2 minutes, 8:10. Maybe I should do it from my page too. Maybe I'm gonna try to do it from my page. Well, that wouldn't be right. So I'm trying to get them to come to the page. Miss Gertrude, I don't see your comment. I don't see a lot of these comments. I see Gertrude Freeman comment on my phone, but I don't see it. Hey, Miss Gertrude, Miss Freeman Ford, Miss Freeman, how are you doing? I don't see your. Oh, there it is. Okay, I missed it up there. Okay, I'm gonna try to do it from my page to my other page. Let me see. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna try to do it from my page. Let's see. How y'all doing? Good, good, good. We are going to get started. Turn it up a little bit. Hopefully you all are doing good on this Thursday. Thank you all for tuning in to PC Ministries, where we deal with what you feel from the inside. I want to start off by thanking everybody for their support, their prayers, their encouragement, their kind words as I've gone through this month, just bringing awareness to breast cancer and encouraging everybody, motivating everybody, being very transparent to my own journey, doing my best to encourage everyone to get checked, to get past the fear of the unknown and get checked, because early detection does save lives. So I want to thank you all for your kind words, your motivation. Hey, BFF, your motivation and your encouragement as I continue to go through this journey. Like I said on Tuesday night on the cancer chat, I know that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but my goal is to keep breast cancer awareness going every month, because cancer does not just show up in October. Although I'm thankful that they have dedicated a month to breast cancer awareness, I'm very thankful for that. I do want to continue to keep this awareness out in the way that God has blessed me and anointed me to do so. So this is something that I'm going to be encouraging us every month. So prepare to be sick of me. Prepare to be sick of me, because I'm going to be out here fussing. Hey, Jazz Dad Thomas, glad you're joining us. Gonna be promoting and encouraging and fussing and everything until I can get everybody checked. Again, it is a scary thing, but you have to get checked. Early detection does save lives. So for those of you that had text back and responded back and telling me that you got your appointment or you had your check and all that, thank you. Your family, I'm thanking you on behalf of your loved ones for getting checked. So tonight, everybody know that I am a transformation coach, and I coach quite a few women. I mentor quite a few women, and a lot of the times relationships come up, and a lot of times even in some of the ladies that I mentor and coach and all of that, there seems to be a common question or a common issue that I notice in a lot of women, not just the ones I coach or mentor, but quite a few women. Hey, Kim, and I want y'all to be interactive with me tonight on your thoughts and how you feel about certain things. Everybody saw my flyer, and tonight we're going to be talking about red flags. And my flyer was like, stop trying to love the red flags out of people. That was the topic of the flyer. I had to put it on there like that because think about it. Why do we try to love the red flags out of people? I gave definitions today. Red flag is a warning signal. A red flag is a warning signal. A warning signal is an alarm or a distress signal. So think about what I'm talking about now, what the topic is. We're talking about red flags and why we ignore them, why we try to love the red flag out of people. So when you see these red flags, and we're going to get into what some of the red flags are, we're going to get into some of those. Hi, Lori, how are you? Thank you for joining us. We want to get into tonight, we're going to get into what some of the red flags are. And I want you all to put your red flags, what you have experienced, what you have noticed as red flags, what you have learned in your relationships, what red flags you've learned about or you've experienced. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Somebody said sound check. I'm pretty loud here. Let me see. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Because I'm trying to do both. I'm on my PCMinistries page on my computer. And then I'm on my personal page on my phone. So I think it's just you, Kim. So you might have to log off and log back on because everybody's saying they can hear me. So I'm going to keep going. Well, you might have to check your phone, Kim, or log off and log back on. And hopefully you'll be able to hear it. But again, we're going to get to the part where we talk about what some of those red flags. And please put in the comments because I leave these videos up on my pages so people who may miss the live can come back and check. So sometimes you can put some stuff in there and people go back and do the replay and they're still texting me and inboxing me after these lives have been completed, and still answering questions and stuff like that. So put your red flags, the red flags that you have experienced. Okay, good, Kim, I'm glad. I want you to put your red flags that you have experienced, you have noticed in your own relationships. And I know red flags are not just about relationships. There are red flags on our jobs. The red flags everywhere. But we want to talk about the red flags in relationships. Relationships are heterosexual relationships. We can talk about red flags in girlfriend relationships, friend, BFF, all that those types of relationships as well. So it's not just red flags that are just relationships, husband and wife or heterosexual. We're not just talking about those. I mean, they're not just red flags just in those types of relationships. They're in anything. But tonight we want to talk about the red flags that are in relationships. In relationships, you can have red flags when you're dating. You can have red flags when you're married, beginning, newly married, long. We've been married 28 years. You can have red flags in your marriage in 28 years. You just never know. But I want to talk about the red flags and why we choose. I'm using my words very, very, very strategically. Why we choose to ignore them. Again, a red flag is a warning signal. A warning signal is an alarm or a distress signal. The definition, y'all know I love definitions. The definition of ignore is refuse to take notice of or to disregard intentionally. Again, we're talking about red flags and why we ignore them. Not the ones we don't see. No, the ones we see that we choose to ignore. I also gave the definition of insanity. Insanity is extreme foolishness. Extreme foolishness. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. Kim said, I noticed my ex was controlling and very jealous. When I would leave, he would blow. Red flag. I can't see the rest of it, Kim. Let me see if I can see the rest. He would blow me up and question where I was and how long I was going to be gone. His attitude would be completely off. Red flag. I hope you ran. But I want to get into it because red flags is just something. I'm going to put my glasses on, y'all, because, these eyes is 54. Red flags tells us of an approaching danger or risk. Approaching, impending. It could be. Okay, flags are usually waved or thrown like in a football game to signify a foul. That means everything stopped because something wrong happened and we got to either address it or we got to fix it. Or when conditions are too dangerous to continue. A potential danger. So that's why they throw, hey Sean, that's why they throw a flag, because something happened, something going on, something is pretty much dangerous coming up here. Red is usually a signal for us to stop or to keep us from going beyond a certain point. We're talking about red flags. Red flag is usually a signal for us to stop. Like, wonk, 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 wonk. That's what the red flag is. Or to keep us from going beyond a certain point. That's what a red flag is. And again, we're talking about why we ignore them. To ignore means, I just gave the definition, to ignore means to refuse to take notice of, to disregard intentionally. So why are we intentionally ignoring these red flags? Okay, in relationships, red flags could be signs that a person is not ready or capable of having a healthy relationship, and that proceeding with them could be emotionally dangerous. Think about it. Think about a time that you have been in a relationship and the person that you were, hopefully you're not the one with the red flags, but the person that you were in a relationship with was displaying red flags. And you chose to ignore them. Again, it could signify that this person is not ready. It don't mean they're a bad person or they're just evil. And I'm not saying that. But a red flag, and we're going to get into some of the red flags, means that a person may not be ready or capable of having a healthy relationship, and proceeding with them could be emotionally hurtful or emotionally dangerous. Although it can take time for red flags to show up in relationships, they could be obvious. Some in the beginning could be real obvious. Think about the obvious. Think about the obvious red flags. Let's just think about ourselves. Think about the obvious red flags that you ignored in a previous relationship or in the relationship that you're in. Let me put a disclaimer. I will not be held responsible for you identifying some red flags that causes you to run away from your relationship. PC Ministries and Paula Collins will not be held responsible for you choosing to cut this relationship. Just putting it out there. But I want you to get these. I want us to stop ignoring these red flags. I want us to stop. Again, red flags can take time to show up in these relationships. Wow, my niece said she did 10 years. 10 years of ignoring red flags. That's a lot of years. That's a lot of emotional damage. Emotional hurt and turmoil. And why? Why do we ignore these red flags? Although it can take a time for these red flags to show up in relationships, sometimes they can be real obvious from the beginning. Some of them can be very, very clear. And some might even present themselves as a clue or like a hint of an underlying problem or an underlying issue. I know y'all thinking about it. Just think about it. Something you dealing with your mate or an ex, and they presented some stuff that you ignored, and now you like, ooh, I knew that was something. Now 5 years later, 6 months later, it thing done got stronger, and now you trying to figure out like how this happened. You saw it. But because you was in love, or you finally had a mate and you were no longer alone, or whatever your reason for choosing to ignore it, now it's still there. Although they signify a reason to stop, red flags signify a reason to like stop, like want. Are they really enough to walk away? See, sometimes we stay because it may not be enough for us to walk away. So is it a red flag or a yellow flag? Sometimes a yellow flag is more like a caution. My antennas is up now, and I'm looking at something, or I'm gonna write that down and I'm gonna watch that, because that might be a little something. So sometimes a red flag is, could it be a yellow flag? Caution, something for you to pay attention to. Red flags in the early stages can be subtle or obvious. If a red flag appears more than once, and it keep happening over and over and over and over, it's essential that we take note. You might want to pay attention to that before the relationship goes too far. Because if it happened once, twice, thrice, over and over and over again, what is that telling you? Ultimately, red flags indicate a reason to cease or back away, while a yellow flag is less severe and is more giving you caution on telling you you might want to slow down a little bit. But we ignore these signs for the sake of having someone, for the sake of appearing to be a certain way. Whatever the reasons are your reasons. And again, PC Ministries deals with what you feel from the inside out. And I want you to dig deep. And if you are finding out now that you are ignoring red flags, or if you find that you are, and this is male or female, it doesn't have to, females are not the only ones that ignore red flags. Males ignore red flags too. So it's not a gender specific things. Somebody said, what happens if they hide the flags real good? Well, when we find out, because they're not going to be able to hide them too long. They're not going to be able to hide them forever. The thing with finding out after they've hid them is you having your own worth and your own value and your own standards of what you're going to put up with, what you're going to address. And that's your decision on, when you finally do see the red flag. Like I said, if it's something that they've been doing over and over, and it's a repetitive thing, and you feel a certain way, That's something that you owe it to yourself to watch. And it is in your place to say whether I want to continue or whether I want to slow down. Whenever it show up. Whenever it show up, because you can hide for a while, but you can't hide forever. And if you think about it, there are some signs of it somewhere. Whatever the red flag that shows up, there's some crumbs somewhere. It's some indications of it somewhere. And a lot of times we don't see it. To ignore means to intentionally choose not to see. That's what it means. And to ignore means to refuse to take notice of. And a lot of times, I speak on behalf of women, we get so in love and we get so infatuated for having somebody, or somebody wants us, or we've been alone for so long that we finally got somebody and we want to ignore everything because we want to keep them. No, you're worth more than that. You don't just let people do you in any kind of way. You're more valuable than that, and you have to know that within yourself. It is nobody else's job to validate you or to bring you value. Self-esteem is just what it is. Self-esteem. I take care of that myself. If somebody wants to compliment that, that's wonderful. But whether they do or don't, I still got it. I still got it. So you have to know your worth and know your own value when these red flags present themselves. And I admonish us to move slowly, move slowly. Don't just jump in running and you forget to ask certain questions. You forget to watch. You forget to look. Stop letting stuff just go over your head. If he said it and he didn't mean to say it, okay. But if he said it again and he didn't mean to say it, okay. He's still saying it. Or he did it and he didn't mean to do it. Okay, that might be one time is a mistake. Once could be a mistake. Once could be a mistake. Once could be a mistake. But twice the same mistake. It's a choice. So now you okay. See, we teach people how to treat us. We teach them. What we allow is what they're going to continue to do. So if he can't rise to your standards, or he can't rise to your character or your need, or your then he's not for you. But you don't lower your standards. You don't lower your value or your worth, or you don't lower it because he don't like it. No, he need to come up, or she needs to come up. But you don't lower your self-esteem to accommodate. No, we're not doing that. And if we're doing that, we're not doing that anymore, because you are worth more than that. You have to have your own value. Okay? You have to have our own value. So again, sometimes red flags are not enough to walk away. Hey, Patrice, you want to join? It said you want to come on. If you want to come on, say yes. I love people that come on. Just put yes in the comments if you said it. Said you want to bring them on. Come on. But again, it says red flags sometimes are not enough for you to walk away. But maybe they are a yellow flag, bringing some caution for you to slow down, make your antennas come up. Okay, well, come on. I'm going to bring you on. We're going to bring Patrice Brinson on. Okay, Patrice, I'm going to see if he let you come on. You are on my phone. Hopefully I can hear you. I love having visitors, y'all. Girl, are you coming on? Hey, Pooh. Girl, are you on there? I can't see. Uh-oh, y'all. Patrice, are you on? I can't see nothing. Okay, I can't see it. I tried to bring you on. Current role, change to viewer. Let me see. Okay, I can't see you. Uh-oh. I can't see you, Patrice. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Oh, you did it audio? I couldn't hear anything, though. Well, we'll try. We're going to try it again. I'm going to have some more at the end. I'll try to figure it out. I don't have a young person here tonight to help me out with This stuff they all moved out on me, y'all. so again, we want to talk about the red flags. Like we just said, sometimes red flags are not enough to make you walk away. It could just be a yellow flag, and a yellow flag is usually something that make you want to take note. Okay, take note before the relationship goes too far. And if something is happening over and over, hey Arlene, if something is happening over and over and over and over and over again, like I said, one time is a mistake. One. Y'all, this is true. One time is a mistake, but if the same mistake again, that's not a mistake. Now we're turning into, this might be a choice. You're choosing. So it may not be enough because it's an individual preference. It's individual, you deal with what you want to deal with. You put up with whatever you want to put up with, however long you want to put up with it. But if something is happening over and over and over again, you need to look at that and pay attention to that, because that could be a red flag of a deeper issue. Or if you're desiring something with this person, this is what you're going to be dealing with. This is the potential of what you could be dealing with. Again, PC Ministries and Paula Collins, this is the disclaimer. I will not be held accountable for any the demise of any relationships or the demise of anybody walking away from a relationship once they realize they don't want to put up with these red flags no more. It's a disclaimer. Don't be suing me, taking me to court. That's a little humor, y'all. I want y'all to get this, because you deserve not to be dealing with red flags. Because again, red flags are a potential emotional, emotional dangerous position to have you in your mind. Red flags usually indicate a reason to cease and walk away, while yellow flags is more or less severe and just a caution for us to slow down. So think about a time when you were in a relationship where you ignored red flags. Just think about it. Aren't you? If you're glad, give me a how you can do the hand. If you're glad you got out. If you're glad you got out, and then you look back and the next girlfriend dealing with them flags that you got out from, praise the Lord. Ooh, thank you, Jesus, for deliverance. Some of us got away from some serious stuff. Some of us got away from serious stuff because we paid attention to them red flags. Naomi, she put her hand up. Yes. And you owe it to yourself. This is for men and women. Women got red flags, men got red flags. So this is not gender specific. This is just period. Okay, aren't you glad you got away from it? Because, whew. Okay. Yellow flags can vary according to your personal needs or wants in your relationship. They can vary. Like I said, hey Mila, like I said, you put up with what you want to put up with, or how much of it you want to put up with, as long as you remain in control of what you're putting up with. Y'all get what I'm saying? Like I said earlier, sometimes red flags is not enough to make somebody walk away. Red flag or not, it could just be a yellow flag or a caution, for them antennas. It could just be that. But as long as you are in control of what you're putting up with, how long you want to put up with, that's your control. If you don't, long as you don't lose that control, you're not manipulated into staying in something that is not serving you, staying in something that is not for you, staying in something that you do not enjoy. So you have to maintain your sense of integrity and character and your value. It's your call as to what you want to put up with. Some of the red flags in relationships, sometimes we put up with more than what we we're talking about red flags and why we try to love the red flags out of people. Why we put up with red flags. That's the question I want to pose tonight. If you're dealing with red flags, and again, this is a personal thing. If you're dealing with red flags, you need to ask yourself, why am I putting up with red flags? Why am I still putting up? Again, a mistake is one time. Not 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. No, that's not a mistake. That's a choice. So why are you putting up with it? Why are they able to just apologize their way out of doing the same thing over and over and over and over? A lot of us are in relationships, and I'm gonna give you an example of a yellow flag. A yellow flag might include difficulty. So like I said earlier, a red flag, sometimes it's not enough for you to walk away, but it's enough for you to watch. Ooh, Naomi, that's a good one there. That's in my notes, girl. Naomi said, looking back, I thought I could change him. That's the number one. Ooh, girl, I'm finna get, y'all, can we be real? Can we be real? Sometimes we think our stuff is enough to keep them, to make them change. Sometimes we think, I'm a woman too now, sometimes we think if I have a child, that'll be enough to make them change. See, it's on us. It's on us. It's on us. Self-esteem issue, yes. Yes. That, all of that. And just think about it. Like I said, a red flag is not always a reason to walk away. It could just be, yellow, let me look at that. Let me pay attention to that. Let me write that down and put that right here. Like, put it right there. Might not put it right here, but put it right there in your head somewhere. It might put it over here, or right there, or over here, but put it in your head somewhere, and then put them antennas up. Cause red flags make my antennas go up. Okay. A yellow flag might include difficulty. Like sometimes if a man or woman, if your spouse or partner has difficulty communicating or different things like that, that's not necessarily a red flag. That may just be something that they have to work on. Like timeliness or communication, communicating styles, or, certain things like that. You determine what that yellow flag is, or what that difficulty may be, if that person is aware of it and working on it. Sometimes that can just be a yellow flag. If they know they got to work on something and they're working on it, versus just talking about it and never doing it, talking about it and never doing it, talking about it, and they're able to talk about it because you allow them to just keep talking about it. That's not a yellow flag. That's a red flag. A red flag is someone with a history of something. A history of something. A history. If you look back in their past or in your past with them, it's a pattern. It's a pattern. So you want to look at that. That's a red flag. It's not a issue that they can work on or that they're working on. It's a history, a pattern or something. Okay. Why do we ignore these red flags? Someone put in the comments, and I can't go back and read them, y'all, because I'm doing lives on both pages, and I don't even know where to look right now. So pray for you, girl. But why do we ignore? Someone put in the comments that they ignored the red flags because, for one, they thought they could change him. They had low self-esteem. They had issues, fear. Some women, some men, we ignore red flags because that person is the breadwinner. So we put up with certain things. Fear of being alone. Fear of starting over. Fear of what it looked like. So we put up with it. That's not fair to you. It's not fair to you. Why do we ignore red flags? Sometimes we ignore them because what that person, the red flag that person is displaying, is normal to you. It was displayed while you was growing up. You've seen it before. Could be. I'm just posing, giving you reasons why some of us ignore red flags. Some of us are drawn to toxic relationships. I'm just throwing some reasons out there. If the shoe fit, then wear it. But if not, then keep it moving. I'm gonna hit yours in a minute, maybe. Some of us are drawn to it. That's why we put up with it, because we're used to it. That validates us. Why would a toxic relationship validate you? Someone treating you wrong, cheating and all of that, why does that validate you? Why do you feel that you have to put up with that? Like you're not valuable. Some of us put up with red flags because we're desperate for relationships. Sometimes we do it. Oh, Arlene says sometimes we put up with it for the kids. That's tough. That's tough. And I'm not here to judge anybody that has done that, that's doing that. I get it. That's tough. My goal is to build you, to help you understand that your value is worth more than that, than putting up with it. If you're dealing with it for fear of being alone, or because that person is the breadwinner, or for sake of the children, then we need to start working on a way of escape, or what you need to do to get in a better place for yourself, because you're worth more than that. You don't want to allow that to put you in a box, or put a stronghold around you, or make you feel like you're less than, or not worthy enough, or that you can't survive without this person. Somebody put in the comments that they deal with red flags because they don't have any boundaries. Yeah, and a lot of times I have found out too, we go into this relationship, and again, this is not just men, and this is not just women, this is universal. Hey, Miss Rashida. Hey, Miss Sonia. When we get into these relationships, we don't even have boundaries at all. At all. Sometimes we just so happy she noticed us, or we just so happy he noticed us, that we just go in with our heart and our head and you know what else, and we don't even establish boundaries. So then you go in, and it's 6 months later, and a year later, and 2 years later, and 5 years now you're married or what have you, and you ain't never established no boundaries. Now this person is just doing and coming, and you have allowed this for this long because there were no boundaries established. So we have to have boundaries. So yeah, that is a good one too. We go along with these red flags because we don't have boundaries. A lot of times we go along with the red flags because we're trying to give it more time to see if it's going to change, or if him saying he was sorry, he won't do it again, if he really sorry the fourth and fifth time. Again, a mistake. The first time is a mistake, not the second and third time. Second time is a choice. But if you keep doing it over and over, now that's a habit. You're choosing to do that. A lot of times we don't have self-respect for us, so we tolerate it. Or sometimes we feel like we don't deserve better. Now, if you feel like that, where did that come from? It's very mandatory to have boundaries, Patrice. You're right. You're right. If you're somebody that don't feel like you deserve better, or you can't get nobody else, where is that thought or that feeling coming from? You have to get to the bottom of where that's coming from. Is this person making you feel like that? Or is that something that's already in there? You got to get to the root cause of that, because that is not true. That is not true. We already talked about this when someone put in the comments there that they dealt with red flags because they thought they could change or fix them. And it's okay to think that a little bit, but only person you can control is yourself. If a person wants to change, you're going to see change in them. If a person wants to change, or their desires to change, you're going to see that change. You're not going to have to make them change. You can hold them accountable to change. You can hold them accountable, but it's still up to them whether they want to do the work to change. We can't change them. And a lot of times we fall into these red flags. Miss Rashida said she's been there, and we all been there. And we can't, if they don't want to change, we stay in it. And they're showing you that they're not. I mentored a lady a while ago, and she was dating this guy, and she desired to get married. He didn't, and he told her he didn't. So why are we still dating? If you desire to get married, and he clearly said he didn't, why are you still dating? I think I wrote something down on that. Why? Why are you still dating? Why would you still stay in a mismatched relationship like that when he clearly said he will never get married? Which is not a red flag, it's a yellow flag because that's not a make or break because you can make a decision, but it's definitely something to pay attention to because it determines the future of your relationship. So if you desire to get married and the person you're dating or whatever says he will never get married, that's a mismatched relationship. So why would you stay in something like that? I mean, feel good, everything else is fine, but where is it going? Where is it going? That's a red flag and a yellow flag because he's not wrong because he don't want to get married. You're not wrong. You're not wrong because you want to get married. Y'all just might not be the couple to do it because he's not willing to change. And you don't want to make somebody do something they don't want to do because that's not sincere. That's not genuine. Some people ignore red flags because they want to see or they believe that it'll work out over time. That's your call. That's your call. If you want to see how long it go, and if you give it some more time, that's totally up to you. As long as you are in control and the decision is yours, you're not being manipulated or molded and shaped by a narcissist. That's a whole different PC Ministries right there. I'm gonna have to get a counselor on here to talk about them narcissists. That's a whole nother thing. And if y'all want to talk about that, let me know, and I'll get a therapist on here to dig deep into that right there. Cause, whew. But that's your call. If you want to see how long it go, that's totally your call. But you have to be in control of your own emotions and your feelings and your boundaries. Don't let them dictate, to you that over and over again. No, that needs to be your call. Some people stay in relationships because they say, nobody's perfect. No relationship is perfect. You're right. You're absolutely right. And yours ain't going to be perfect either if you're dealing with red flags like this. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Hey Georgina, nobody is perfect. No relationship is perfect. Every relationship has its issues and its red flags and stuff like that. Like we said earlier, for those of you that's just tuning in, we're talking about red flags and why we try to love the red flags out of people. Why we choose to ignore red flags. And y'all know I love love definitions. A red flag is a warning signal. A warning signal is an alarm or a distress signal. And to ignore means to refuse to take notice of or to disregard intentionally. So why are we intentionally disregarding these red flags? Why? Like, what about you makes you want to ignore these red flags? Hey, how you doing, Georgina? Why do we ignore these red flags? What about you makes you feel that you're not worthy of complete wholeness? That you deserve to be treated the way this person is treated. And again, red flags can come from women, men. It's not gender specific. It's for anybody. So this is for anybody. But we want to talk about why we're choosing to ignore these red flags. Why are we sitting back, allowing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results? I gave the definition of insanity earlier, and that's extreme foolishness. So why? I mean, like I said, I keep saying it, a mistake. One time is a mistake. Oops. But the 2 and 3 and 4, 5, that's not a mistake. That's now we're getting this a choice. And why we allow that? Why are we allowing it? Why are we allowing it? Like I just said, sometimes we ignore the red flags because it's normal. Some of us are drawn to toxic relationships. That's a question that you have to ask yourself. Why am I drawn to toxic relationships? Sometimes we want to give it more time to see if it's going to work out. We lack self-respect, so we tolerate it. We look at the red flags as a mistake, or we can fix them. Sometimes we put up with them, all of that. And all of that stuff is very destructive thought patterns and are usually wrong. They're usually wrong. They are usually wrong. And a lot of you raised your hand earlier when you thought back on some red flags that you were dealing with that you're glad you got out of, because that person and the next person still dealing with them. And you wouldn't have been no different. Closing our eyes to these situations will not result in the type of relationship you desperately want, you crave, or dream of. It's not going to happen. Again, you choose how far you want to let a red flag go. It doesn't necessarily mean because a person has a red flag that that's just a definite sign for you to walk away. But you might want to take note. You might want to take note. Don't ignore it. You might want to take note. Like I said, put it right there. Put it in your head somewhere. Somewhere. Just take note and look for it. Watch for it. Don't try to incite it, but you want to sit back and you want to watch. You want to watch. A lot of times we put up with people doing us any kind of way in front of people, and then we get home, oh, I'm sorry, it was just so and so and so. And no, you're not going to treat me any kind of way in front of people. Or you get around a certain type of people, or you get around, what have you, other women. Say if we're in a relationship, you get around other women, and now all of a sudden I'm not. Okay, pay attention to that, because now what changed? And then you get home and it's different. No, that's a red flag, sisters. That's a red flag. Some of the red flags that we ignore. Put some of the red flags that you have ignored in the comments, or some of the red flags that you have seen being ignored in the comments. Some of the red flags we ignore is alcoholism. He was drinking when you met him. And we ignore that because it's just drinking, child. He's just having a good time. So now y'all married 5-6 years down the road and he's still drinking, and now it's out of control. But he was drinking when you met him. You didn't like it then. You thought it was too much or excessive then, but you ignored it because he was a good person. He was a good provider. He paid the bills and all of that. Yeah. You talking about red flags and why we choose to ignore them. What about drug addiction? Private phone calls. So that right there, that's a whole, that right there gonna get somebody cut. Yeah. Separate phones. Okay. Let's talk about that a little bit, Kira. Private phone calls and separate phones. Okay, so you find out your person, male or female, they got a phone that you didn't know nothing about. Okay, dating, may not have the opportunity to know. And if you are in a monogamous relationship or inclusive, just you two, you should know about the phone, maybe. Married people definitely if you're married. But dating, yeah, kind of, sort of, but you find out, and then they, you know how they get with them phones, and it always turned down, or volume turned way down, or something like that. That's a red flag. That's yellow flag, red flag, all the flags. You might want to watch that. And if you ask them about it and they chop your head off or blah 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 blah, put it right there. That's the new thing. Put it right there. Put it right there, because it could be something. Could be something. Could be something. Somebody put in their notes. Georgina said, being disrespectful to his mom. Now y'all already know, if a man can't treat his mama right, what makes you? The only way that might be, and I'm gonna go out on a limb. The only way that might not be real red flaggish is if he resents his mom. I've met a young man that resented his mom because she wasn't there for him growing up. She chose drugs over them, and as a child he grew up with that, and he never understood that. So he came off very disrespectful to his mom only because of that. He wasn't disrespectful to the woman that he was dating, and then that turned into his wife. He was never disrespectful to her, but he had an issue with his mom because of that. Now, could that turn into something if the wife displayed something that could trigger the core of how he's dealing with his mom, yes. So that is a very touchy situation. But if you just have a guy who just nasty to his mama and disrespectful and rude and all of that right there, what makes you think you're gonna be any different? And that's his mama who was there. Whatever the issues may be, it could be something deeper. It could be, again, antennas. Let them antennas go up. A warning sign. You might want to dig into that and find out why. Ask them, why are you so disrespectful to your mother? See what they say. See if they snap your head off. Some of the reasons, some of the red flags we ignore, someone said not wanting to go certain places together, or you can't come by places when. Hey, Bernicia. Now that red flag, you can only go certain places with them, or they can only come by certain places when. Why do we ignore that? Why do we ignore those red flags? And then we take any excuse they give us with it. Why? Because the D good? And we're going to keep it real. Is that why we ignore them? Because the D good? That's how you going to do your esteem and your value? He can come over there and just toss you a little D and then pay a phone bill or a light bill and we just put up with it? Come on, we better than that. We're better than that. We're better than that. We're putting up with these red flags. This is why we're putting up with it. And he can only come by at a certain time, or you can only go with him to certain places around certain people. Red flag. Again, you teach people how to treat you. You're going to put up with what you put up with as long as you put up with it. Mismatch. What about violent displays? He just go off, just go to cussing and stuff. What y'all do with that one? What if he flinch like he gonna hit you? What you do with that one? Because if you flinch like you gonna hit me, and I let that go, Negro, you might hit me when you get mad. How we gonna accept that? Yeah, do we accept that? He testing? Flinch? Like what man would even flinch at a woman like that if he has no intention on ever, or if he don't want to scare her like that? What in him makes him feel okay with doing that? I'm out. Miss Sonia Millard said, run some of the red flags we deal with. He tells you you're too close with your mother. And his mama probably got a good eye or spirit of discernment, and she can read that brother. He don't want you close to your mama. Kira said, I've gotten you're too busy always at a game or practice. Okay, come with me. If we together, come with me. Come with me. I got kids. This is what we got to do. Some of the reasons, some of the red flags, violent displays. What about the one where they don't have any friends? These are red flags. They don't have any friends. You don't have any friends. You 30, 40 years old and you ain't got no friends. Why don't you have friends? That's something. You are extra introvert. That ain't that much introvertness in the world. You got to have a friend or two or something. A dog, a cat or something. They don't have any friends. Like I said, we talked about this one, the mismatched relationship. The person tells you they'll never get married and you desire to get married. Why do you stay in that relationship? Oh, and somebody said another red flag telling you, I like your hair like this. Stop wearing that. A display, when they have those violent displays of stuff, a display means an exhibition of something. a performance or a show or a presentation of data. Data meaning there's something on the inside that they're pulling from. Yes. I'm tagging them not. You right, Miss Sonia. We tagging. Because we got to get rid of these red flags. And again, the purpose of this live as we get ready to close, the purpose of this live tonight is to help us recognize or ask ourselves, why am I putting up with these red flags? Why am I trying to love the red flags out of this woman? Why am I trying to love the red flag out of this man when he's doing the same thing over and over? And get this, been doing it for years. Ain't nothing changed. What about me is making me stay in here and deal with this? Where is my esteem? Where is my value? Where is my worth? That's making me put up with this over and over. Again, sometimes a red flag is really a yellow flag and just calls for caution, for something for us to look up. Pay attention to. It's not always a reason to walk away, but you want to pay attention to it, because if he's doing something, he or she's doing something over and over and over again, it's a pattern and it's a history. You want to deal with that? It's your choice to whether you want to deal with that or not. They can be working on it. I'm sorry. Okay, work on it over there. But I'm gonna have to see signs that this is no longer. So you can demand that. You can hold them accountable to it, but you have to have something about yourself to want to do that. A lot of times we don't stand up to them because we're scared we're going to lose them. So that gives them the power to keep doing what they're doing, because you won't stand up. You won't hold them accountable. So Felicia said they're overly possessive. That is a big red flag, and that's one of my notes. Overly possessive. They only want you to themselves. They don't want you. You can't talk to nobody. You can't speak to nobody. You can't talk, wave, classmates, nothing. Now I could see if it was an ex, it might be a little touchy. That's a little uncomfortableness, a little jealousy in that right there. But you can't talk to nobody. They don't want you even talking to your mama, your siblings, classmates, cousins, people at work. Okay. You want to ask them why. What is the problem? And if they get really upset about that, you need to ask questions. That's a red flag. You want to know what's going on. Why I can't? This is my classmate, and I'm gonna introduce you to him or her. Pay attention to how they act, how they treat you after that. See, we ignore these red flags, and then we wonder why after years or months of being in a relationship, well, I don't understand why they act like this. But yes, you do. Yes, you do. I know women that say now, after they've divorced, that they knew they shouldn't have married this person in the beginning. So what made you marry them? Some people say it was too close to the wedding and they were too embarrassed to call it off, or they thought they could change them. They thought the marriage and the wedding would change them. Those were the reasons you chose. Again, choice. You choose to ignore the red flags for whatever your reasons are. And again, the definition of insanity is allowing the same thing over and over, or doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. If this person is displaying something, let me tell you single ladies this, if this person is displaying something now that makes you uncomfortable, this person is talking to you in a degrading way, devaluing your value and your worth now, if this person does not respect you now, he's not going to do it when you're married. You're not going to change him when you're married. It doesn't work. Yes. Miss Sonia's run. Run, Forrest, run. It doesn't change. There are a lot of women now that are divorced that said they knew they shouldn't have married the person. They knew it because they thought they could change them. Whatever the reasons are, it doesn't work. If they are a certain way, and men, this is for you. If she's a certain way before you get married, getting married doesn't change them. It just makes it stronger because now they're yours, or you theirs. Now it's harder because you're legally bound. And this marriage thing is serious. You don't just get married because you look good together and everybody, because people say, but no, you better. Because you got to, it's for better or for worse, in sickness and in health. And it's a lot of worse in marriage. It's in there. So if a person is displaying something before you get married, and you talk about it, bring it up. Hey, Shauna, bring it up. Hey, I noticed that when we get around this group of people, you act like this. What's up with that? Oh, I noticed that, your mama said this right here. You snapped her head off. That's your mama. Tell them, don't talk to your mama like that, and see what they say to you. And then here's one, y'all. Here's a red flag. You're dating a guy that has kids, and he does not take care of his kids. He don't even try to see his kids. That's a red flag. And y'all don't have kids yet. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. Because those are his kids. He made them. Find out why. Is it an issue with the mother? Is it y'all at beef or something like that? Find out why. Find out what it is. That's a red flag. So now y'all have kids or whatever, and y'all don't work out or whatever. However it go. What's gonna be different for you? What's gonna be different? Somebody said we had a wedding dress on the couch, right? At least it's for sale, and it didn't get used before you found out. And them red flags, y'all, are serious. Them red flags are serious. Just because if somebody is displaying something that you don't care for now, don't think because you get married that it's going to change. No, it does not. I think somebody on here said, y'all, I can't see. Not everybody wants to change or mature, so we have to be careful. Y'all, I can't see. So we have to be careful not to wait or expect a person to become who they... That's true. That's true. A red flag don't necessarily mean a person is good or bad, but you have morals, you have values, you have character, you have things, you have a way of things that you want. And what's wrong with that? If you have a way that you demand to be treated, you're not going to talk to me no any kind of way. I don't care who you around or who you with. I don't care if you're drinking, smoking, chewing or what. You're not going to talk to me no any kind of way. So if a person does not want to adhere to that, that's a red flag. So don't think you're different. And sometimes we think because we have a child that's going to keep him. Tell me how that worked for you. Or some women, because he throw the D real good, we put up with his red flags. Come on, where's your value? Where's your worth? He's only going to do you how you allow him to do you. And again, a red flag is not always a reason for you to walk away, but you need to pay attention to it. And if you refuse to pay attention to red flags, you know these red flags in your relationships. You know what they are. You've seen them. They don't just come out of nowhere. They don't come out of nowhere. They do not come out of nowhere. You've seen them. But why why do you choose to ignore them? That's the question you ask yourself. Why are we trying to love the red flag out of somebody who don't want the red flag to be loved out of them? And why are we putting up with it? And we're getting ready to close, y'all. Some of the red flags that we ignore: mismatched relationship goals, persistent jealousy or distrust, like somebody said, over possessiveness. Don't want you around your mama, nobody, family members, nothing. And persistent jealousy, this red flag usually comes off as attentiveness. Sometimes they can be real attentive and overboard in their generosity in the beginning of a relationship, and includes an underlying control problem and a desperate insecurity. Shawana said, I'm a witness. Keep begging God to change them for you. Just because you want them doesn't work. Now that's a deep right there, Pastor Cunningham. We praying that God change them. That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother live right there. What about a history of cheating and infidelity, y'all? That's a red flag. Relationships require trust to succeed. If your partner has a history of infidelity, proceed with major caution. Even if they've demonstrated change, even if they're no longer like that and they've demonstrated change, ask yourself if you feel comfortable with pursuing this relationship. This will affect your trust in them. So again, even if they have changed and they're showing signs that they're no longer like that, you still have to take that into consideration, especially if they didn't get delivered, or, that's your call to where you want to. Miss Rashida says she can write a book. Girl, write the book and help somebody. I can get you in touch with Transform Publishing and she can help you get it published. Pastor Diana Robinson. Write the book and help somebody, girl. What about controlling nature? So when somebody is controlling, male or female, it's usually due to deep personal issues. If your partner tries to control what you see, what you do, what you look like, what you wear, what you eat, like Miss Sonia Millard said on here, run. Run at the first sign. Run. That ain't no yellow flag nowhere. So don't even put a yellow flag right there. That's a red flag from the beginning. Run. Run. What about stories of his ex or their ex? Kind of common in the beginning because you kind of want to know, what. You ready to tell your story? Well, we need to talk. Let's talk, Miss Rashida, so we can get it out there. We can get it out there. Well, let's talk. Inbox me. I think you have my number. Call me. When they have, talking about your exes is common in the beginning, but you want to pay attention to the language they use when they discuss their past relationships, because this type of perspective usually deflects their responsibility in it and demonstrates a lack of respect for the person that they once loved or they once cared for. So you want to pay attention to that too. What about a lack of emotional intimacy? A partner who shows no interest in opening up or bonding. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. I started one called Anointed Married but Behind Closed Doors. Ooh. You need to put that out there. Put that out there. What about gaslighting? Y'all know what gaslighting is? They say or do things to make you question your own sanity. They lie, make you think you forgot something. They distort things and accuse you of overreacting. It's a red flag. Some of y'all are being gaslighted. Are you being gaslighted? They make you think you crazy. Make you think you didn't see what you saw. Or you didn't hear what you heard. It really wasn't what it really was, but you saw what you saw. What about love bombing? They manipulatively shower you with praise and affection to gain your trust or regain your trust. That don't mean they changed. That don't mean they changed. But they're just showering you with all this stuff to get your mind off of it. If that's how they handle issues or things like that, you want to pay attention to that, because that is not how you handle an issue. You cannot heal from what you don't reveal. And if this person has an issue that they need to work on, showering me with gifts is not going to help you work on your issue. You need to work on your issue. A gift, buying me something ain't going to help you do that. And telling me how beautiful I am and all, it's not going to help you work on your issue. You need to work on your issue. So don't allow them to love bomb you. Breadcrumbing. What about this one, y'all? And this is the last one before we close. Breadcrumbing is they will lead you on with little morsels of encouragement. Just enough so you don't give up on the relationship. Have y'all ever been breadcrumbed by somebody? They have no intention on committing, but they gave you just enough. Just enough. They might have paid a light bill and a water bill, got your toes done or something like that. Just enough to string you along. But they have no intention on committing. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. It's a red flag. So again, I hope, oh wow, I think y'all still going on, y'all. I am over an hour. This is only supposed to be an hour. So this is a good topic, I can tell. So I pray that something was said tonight or shared here by me or even in the comments that would make you ask yourself, why am I trying? And this is male or female. This is not gender specific, because women have red flags just like men have red flags. But I hope something was shared tonight that will cause you to ask yourself, why am I trying to love the red flag out of this person? Why am I allowing this person to say and do whatever they say and do? And why am I putting up with it? Why? And that's the question. Red flags and why we put up with them. See, just because a person have a red flag don't mean they're a bad person. The red flag is a warning. Like we said, a red flag is a warning. A warning is an alarm or a distress signal. And to ignore it means we refuse to take notice of it. What makes you choose to ignore it? Okay, I can do a part 2. We can do a part 2 next Thursday. I'm here to meet the needs. I'm here to meet the needs. And we'll do a part 2 next Thursday. I definitely will. I sure will. If anybody want to come on with me, just let me know and we can do it. But I will definitely do a part 2. I'm here to meet the needs of what you all need, because this can go deeper. This can go deeper. And again, I want you to ask yourself why you choose to ignore it, why you choose to intentionally. Like someone said in the notes, because they're the breadwinner and you have no way out. I understand that, and that is a very sticky, touchy situation. Someone said in the notes they put up with it because of the kids. Again, I understand that. That is a very touchy situation, and I can't say, well, you need to leave out because someone. I can't say that, because you can't come stay with me. If I had a way for you to come stay with me and to take care of you, then yeah. But I can't, so I'm not going to encourage you to just leave, blah, 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 blah. But I will encourage you to begin to put things in place as far as your self-esteem and your value and your worth, and begin to keep praying to God to see, provision, way of escape, anything that you can do to rectify your situation. The power of prayer is an awesome thing. There is power in prayer. So if you're in that type of situation, please pray. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Ask God to help you. Ask God for provision. Ask God for resources, for direction. Ask Him to lead you and guide you and to show you the steps that you need to take to build your self-esteem and your worth and your value, and see what's next for you. Okay, I just pray that something, ladies, woohoo, next Thursday, Miss Paula. Yes, I will definitely do a part 2 next Thursday at 8 o'clock. I sure will. And I want to thank you all for tuning in. Yes, LaShonda, that part. I want to thank you all for tuning in again. I pray that something was said tonight that would cause you to think about your own red flags or the red flags that you are putting up with, and why. Again, you have to know your own value, your own worth, your own value and your own worth, and self-esteem is yours. It's not anybody's job to validate you and affirm you, so you have to do those things yourself. So I thank you all for tuning in tonight. I pray that something was said that blessed you. Thank you all. I'm over an hour and 20 minutes, and I don't need to stay this long, but I do appreciate all the comments and the interaction. I love it. Thank you for your support of PC Ministries. How can you trust again after so many red flags on judging? Part 2. Okay, I'm going to go back through these comments, Kira and Miss Sonia, and I'm going to go back through these, and I'm going to answer some of those questions for part 2. So stay watchful for part 2 next Thursday. Next Thursday is the 3rd, November the 3rd. So I will answer some of these questions and get into how we can stop doing the red flags and some of these questions in here. So again, we got to get out of here. I thank you all for your time and your input. Keep them coming, as I will keep this video up for others to see. Share the video. Remind people that we're going to be on next Thursday talking about red flags part 2. So again, thank you all. Love y'all. Patrice said, thank you, my friend. Let me keep looking. I got less than 2 months before. Yes. And if you find them, ask about them and check out the response. So again, love you all. Talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good weekend. Be safe, and I'll see y'all next week.
Playing from Foxy.